gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
The time is now. The time is now. The time is now. I'm Trent, and this is Vision Preparedness. The time is now. The time is now. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Turmoil Tuesday. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody had a great day today. Hudson Valley, that was an awesome pop-up live you did this afternoon, bro. That was just amazing. Folks, if y'all have not caught that, you need to go check out Hudson Valley. And yeah, it's some good stuff. Good to see everybody. Welcome in. My man, Ghost Lincoln. How are you, my brother? Good to see you. Good to see you. Loretta, family, how are you? How are you? Shanny, 2003, good evening. Good to see you. Water Tiger, hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great day today. Love and life, family, good to see you. Hope you are doing well today as well. Vet Prep is in the building. Get your favorite beverage. It's Turmoil Tuesday. We got an amazing guest, folks. I'm going to tell y'all, we got an amazing guest. Independent Mini United. Good to see you. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Don E., welcome in. AGC is in the building, y'all. Welcome in. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Blessed Beyond, welcome. They said Milwaukee in the house. Good to see you. Good to see you as well. Who else we got in the building? My man, I'm going to tell y'all now, he is still the best concrete man in the business, not only in the state of New Orleans or in the state of Louisiana, but I'm telling y'all, west of the Mississippi. KP Heathen is in here, and he's driving. Good to see you, my brother. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, and please drive and be safe. Joe Morgan, welcome in, welcome in. Who else we got in the building? Did I see the Virginia Bushcrafter slide in here? Yes, I did. Good to see you, my brother. Don E., I hope you're doing well. Oops, good to see you. Good to see you and everybody else. Come on in. Tell somebody, excuse me, as you step over them, step around them, or slide next to them. Do your thing, do your thing. Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, my brother from another mother. Good to see you, bruh. Good to see you. Hope you had a great day, and hope everything is good up there in New Yorkistan. But, you know, too soon to tell Tuesday. Yeah, that's okay. We know. We get it. We'll see. Yes, without a doubt. Who else we got in the building? Trish in progress. Good to see you. Welcome in. welcome in. And folks, if I did not personally speak to you, Greenleaf, welcome in. Shannon Barrett, hi, how are you? This cup of coffee goes to you. And because I know she was in here, but her son's coming over for dinner. Coffee first. And then speak. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping in, Coffee. I hope you have a great day. There's my man, OP, Ontario Prepper in the building. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Your ears must have been burning because I was talking about you a little bit ago. Good to see you. All good as always, my brother. Always good. Hope you and little OP are doing well as well. Chair Bear, welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, folks. We have an amazing guest tonight. Y'all, East Tennessee Preparedness, my man. Welcome in, bro. Hope you had a great day. Folks, we got an amazing guest tonight, and he is amazing. He is great. He's good friends. Jennifer Ocean Homestead, welcome in, Jennifer. Good to see you as well. Folks, you've seen him in the chat. You might subscribe to his channel. But I'm telling you, not only is he a great guy, but he is an author. There is the question box up there. If you have questions for our guest tonight, drop them in there. We'll get to them. And without further ado, folks, I'm bringing to the stage my friend, a guy, a good man in himself, Mr. Chance Paladin. Good to see you, sir. How are you tonight?
I am doing fantastic. How y'all doing?
There you go, folks. Can't miss it. Can't miss it. And Chance, first of all, thank you for accepting the invitation to come up on my live tonight. I appreciate you. And folks, you've talked to him in the chat. You probably are subscribed to his channel. But I will say this: if you are not, please, kind sir, kind ma'am, go over and check out Chance's YouTube channel. I'm putting his link in the chat, and you too can go subscribe. He's got some great content over there, folks. Great content.
Thank you.
Yes. So, Chance, tell us about yourself as much as you would like. Say hi to the folks, and then we'll get into some things.
I see all my buddies. I see all my buddies in the chat. How's it going? About myself, let's see. Well, I'm an author, but I think first and foremost, like a lot of other people, you grow up doing Boy Scouts, and you think there's got to be something in between, right? And I was working at a grocery store one day, and this guy walked up to me and he's like, someday they're going to want to wipe us all out. And then he walked away, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I guess I should, I guess I got to somehow like make the gap between working at the grocery store and, the rest of the universe.
Right.
And, it kind of is like, you're old enough now to realize that you're on the endangered species list.
Yeah.
And, it was weird, right? Because if you don't, you kind of expect that everyone's going to be there around you to kind of get you to where you're going to need to go.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the case. You end up being really self-taught a lot these days. And what I've noticed, especially during the last tumultuous several years where a lot of people passed because of an unknown thing from an unknown origin, they were all suspiciously left without the people that would have gotten them to where they needed to go.
Right.
And thankfully, we have this wonderful, wonderful YouTube platform, which I love so much. And everyone loves so much because YouTube is so amazing. And I think a lot of other people were ahead of the curve too. And there's a lot of YouTube channels, and they're like, someone might need to actually learn how to load a shotgun. Yes. Because like, if you've never done it before, like it is super intimidating. And I ended up kind of bridging that gap. And as I answered a lot of my own questions, as I learned things, that's just kind of what everyone started doing. If you even know one thing now, you got to share it with everybody.
Yeah.
slowly lift everybody up. And so now here I am. Ta-da.
Exactly. So, Chance, you're an author,
Ah, yes, sometimes.
and my good friend Ontario Prepper actually introduced me to your book, folks. If you have
Hey,
not seen, read, or bought this book, The Bunker Codes: A Beginner's Guide to Bunkers. I'm gonna tell y'all right off the bat, it's not what you think. I was literally floored, Chance. We were talking about this before the live. When I started reading this book, I could not put it down.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, folks, it is amazing, an amazing book. So, and I did see a question from Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. He dropped in the questions. He said, "How many books have you published?"
Oh yeah, it's so that's my first nonfiction book. My fiction books, though, there's probably, I don't even know, 20, 10, 20, something like that. The PNW Affliction series is massive. It kind of chronicles like the fictional collapse of the Pacific Northwest, and then I just start branching out from there. It's kind of how I cope with things that I can't handle yet. And so it's kind of like a rational step of how people could theoretically make it through things realistically.
Right.
So it's a lot because I have a lot of concerns. The Pacific Northwest has been an insane place, just
Yeah.
even in the last couple of years, let alone the last 20 years, 20 plus WTO riots all the way through to now. Pacific
Right.
Northwest
Exactly.
is like the tip of the spear in more ways than just like the whole Red Dawn thing, like
Yeah.
that whole movie. But everything almost happens here first in a lot of ways.
Yeah. It does, and you're right. And
Yeah,
folks,
Seattle is a mess. Seattle is a mess.
I and I have a friend who
Seattle,
lives in Seattle, and I talked to him on the phone in the midst of their whatever they were doing, and he was like, "Oh, it's not that bad." And
yeah.
I'm like, really, dude?
How bad does it
Really?
have to be?
Right. Yeah. How bad does it have to get in order for you to say, "Oh, it's not that bad"? But folks, I just want to read the back of this book to give you an idea, and then we'll talk more about this book. It says here, "What's your greatest fear if you stumbled into a bunker loaded to the brim? Would it be how to use the radio or how to perform first aid? Maybe you're wondering if that firearm is already loaded and how to safely check it." And then Chance goes on to say, "I try to include everything in here of how I'd explain to someone absolutely knew what to do with everything in the bunker. Think of it like a high level explanation so you could try to figure out what to dive into first if you had to do further learning." Folks, and that right there does not do the book justice itself, in my opinion, because I started reading this, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" It's brilliantly written.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, absolutely. So if you want to, oh, and by the way, folks, I'll say this. Okay, I will say this. If you are coming to the Bug Out Weekend, May 2nd through the 5th, Chance has donated several copies of this book to give away. So, for those of you coming to the Bug Out Weekend, you may win your very own copy of the Bunker Codes. It and actually, I finished mine. I'm going to have the COO read it, and then
Oh,
I'm going to pass it on to somebody else. And when I give it to him, I'm going to tell him, "Look, here's what you have to do. If you take this book, you have to read it and pass it on to somebody else." That's just me. So, Chance,
yes.
what yeah, what gave you the concept to come up with this book?
Oh, it's so terrible. You're not even gonna believe me. I was I wanted to do something that was so two things happened at the same time. I wanted to do something
Mhm.
that was nonfiction because a lot of people were telling me, I don't read fiction. I don't read fiction. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll write a nonfiction. How hard can that be? I don't know.
Right.
And so I'm like, all right, well, what if I did a cookbook? Like I lived on, a food card for a long time. And so I
Mhm.
liked doing canned food stuff in ways that doesn't taste horrible because after a while, anyone who's been on food cards, well, pre Rona, you can't do it now. You'll starve to death. But
Right.
if you tried with food prices, but back then you could do it. So it started with recipes, but then I'm like, wait a second, if I just do all the recipes and you go find a bunker, how are you going to know how to get a fire started? How are you going to know how to get the stove going? How do you know if the bunker's not going to fall in on you? How do you know if it has proper ventilation? How do you know if you're
Right.
not leaving enough tracks in and out to where someone's, oh my God. And then the list just grew to, well, what you see there,
Yeah.
basically.
Exactly.
And so that was part of it. The other half of that I didn't even really have to rewrite because people would ask me questions. And one whole chapter of that was just me like answering one question for one person. And that book ended up be me, my own reference material for me having to re-answer things to people over and over again.
Right.
Because a lot of those,
Right.
radios, batteries, I've gotten the same battery questions a million times. You know how it is. It's like, oh boy, this is an 8 millimeter barrel. Like it goes into your battery. Don't put a different size in there.
Yes.
Don't overload. You know the drill. So,
Yeah.
and there's funny little things like what happens if you find a revolver and you accidentally cock the hammer? How do you get the hammer back down without blowing a hole in something? A lot of people don't know how to do that, but try to explain that in words to somebody. You're like, okay, some of
Yeah.
them you kind of have to have the trigger on, but not really, and you kind of got to let the hammer down. You can put your finger in the way.
Right.
And those are all real things that could really happen.
Yep. You are absolutely right. Fed Up American, my brother, my friend. Good to see you, bro. I appreciate the donation. And folks, as you know, we'll never ask you for money, but all donations come right back into the channel to bring y'all amazing content and events. And I appreciate you, Fed Up American. Thank you so much, my friend. And I'll be seeing you in about 9 days. 9 days. So, Chance,
Yes.
what was your very first book that you wrote?
I think my very first book was P&W Affliction 1 Recycled. And basically, I had a dream. Hey, I had a dream that I was walking down the street at night because you
Mhm.
used to be able to do that a
Right,
long time. And
right.
you know how dreams are, they just kind of randomly associate things. And I was like, what happens if the lights just start shutting off behind you as you're walking forward? Like
Ooh,
obviously you're going to naturally keep walking forward, right?
yeah,
And then it just kind of went from there. Like what happens if you can't turn around? Like what happens if you can't retrace your steps and you have to just keep going further and further into the unknown and further out of your comfort zone?
yeah,
Do you have what you need, and are you going to be able to find what you need? And law enforcement's not coming, police and fire.
yep,
There's a lot of areas now where they're not coming anyway. They just shut down at night for various reasons, and
right.
ambulances are already busy with a certain drug of an unknown origin that people overdose on like crazy.
Yeah.
Everything's just taxed, so you just keep moving forward. And
Hmm.
do you have enough skills, and do you bring enough stuff with you? I know a lot of us have pockets and pockets full of stuff now, but
Right,
if you're just going
right.
to the store, you don't always bring everything.
Exactly. And that's true. And unfortunately, it's come to the point where everywhere I go, I carry.
Yep.
And, I encourage that to anybody and everybody, if that is allowed in your state, your city, your town, whoever, whatever, whenever, carry to protect not only yourself, but your family and friends. Yeah, without a doubt. Got a question here.
Go
And
ahead.
my man, Mad Shad, good to see you, my brother. I know he asks his typical question. Chance.
Oh,
He
oh
wants
yeah.
to know, what is your favorite pie?
So if you are insanely lucky enough to like know where a huckleberry bush is, you can mix huckleberries and blueberries together.
Mm-hmm.
Which now you have to pick about 10 billion huckleberries to even make like a piece of a pie.
Okay.
But yeah, those two together is probably my favorite.
Huckleberry and blueberry pie. There you
Yeah,
go, Shad.
wild huckleberries, wild huckleberry.
Wild huckleberries.
You got
That
to fight a
is
bear for it to really taste good, though,
gotcha.
because the bears will get
Yeah,
them.
absolutely. Rip Curl, good to see you, my friend. I'm with you, my brother. I carry all the time as well.
So
Um,
here's an interesting thing, Rip
yeah.
Curl, if I can. This
Mm-hmm.
carry thing has been really interesting because there hasn't been really good modern carry options until very recently.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and even to expand on that, there hasn't really been like what I would call like a compact like double stack lately. And so a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
if they haven't been back out to the store, they're lucky to have like 7 rounds or 9 rounds, which is objectively nothing
Correct.
anymore.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
so it's like if you haven't gone back out and checked out some of the modern offerings, your headspace maybe, and I'm not saying you, but I knew someone
Yeah.
was going to bring up it. Me and Rip Curl go way back,
Okay.
but you have to check like the modern, not you, but everyone else has to check like the modern offerings to match up with like what the modern scenarios are going to be. So you're not left with like 7 or 9 rounds. Oh, it's just so under.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm with you.
Especially
I,
with
I,
mag bands and stuff going on. Good
oh
grief.
yeah, definite. And that's probably the stupidest thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the day that I heard that Ohio was going to think about it, high
Oh.
capacity magazines. For those listening,
Oh.
I'm doing air quotes. High
Oh.
capacity magazines because you don't need that many rounds according to
Why would
Grandpa
you need that
Titus.
many rounds?
Yeah, well, something about the Second Amendment and to protect yourself from a tyrannical government. Who
I
knows?
don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
So I went out and
that's never
just
happened before, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes. Fallen Skies Homesteading and Preparedness channel. Good to see you, my brother. Welcome in. Camo Carl, good to see you as well. Mrs. Meadow, how are you? Hope you're doing well. G-Ma Nana, good to see you. Sister Marie's Kitchen is in the building, folks. Settle back, settle down. And Hudson Valley says, I carry harsh language here in the
Hey,
People's Republic of New Yorkistan.
man, I gotta tell you what, New York, like everyone, oh, the National Guard XYZ. It's like they can't even hold the subways down there.
Right.
Like they can only be down in the subways for a couple hours. If that doesn't tell you like the situation that we're in, then nothing. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's nuts.
Yeah, it is. And, unfortunately, folks, I truly believe that it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Hey, the deer are going to be wearing Kevlar one of these days, and there's this, hillbilly is like, "What are you supposed to do?" And then the deer's hiding behind a fridge. I don't
Yeah,
know.
right. Exactly. Exactly. Sooner or later, the deer are going to catch on and they're going to start wearing Kevlar.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that'll be it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Then the
Without a
rabbits are going to be running around with Kevlar.
yes. Yes. Let's see. Water Tiger asked a question. How do you manage the interpersonal dynamics between people you are bunkering with?
That's very very similar to like office politics or family politics, except you can just never go home. The thing is, there's always going to be a dominant personality,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's
Mm-hmm.
going to be somebody who's like the rational person of the group that
Mm-hmm.
is going to have to say, this isn't a democracy.
Mm-hmm.
However, there has to be some semblance of there's always more than one way to do something. And sometimes the other way is just as okay. So if you want to empower other people, because you're not always going to be around, you
Yeah.
have to be able to say, my way is going to work, but your way is going to work. If we want to do your way, we can do it your way. And then you can trade. We'll do it your way one time, my way one time. And so it is a lot of diplomacy, but there is going to be a lot of times where it's like, no, this isn't a democracy, and I'm going to have to punch you in the face if you don't knock it off. But you don't want that to be the go-to. Like, you have to learn a semblance of empathy to realize, especially in insanely traumatic experiences, that doesn't
Mhm.
manifest the same. People are going to be off their meds, which doesn't manifest the same. Everyone has to just be crazy patient, which means you got to be able to read people's feelings and know when they've had enough and need to calm down.
Yeah.
Give people space and realize that you aren't experiencing what they are. Everyone sees reality through a different lens, even on a good day. You can't even drive down the road now without everyone wanting to wipe each other out. Like,
That's true.
you're gonna
That's
have
true.
to find you have to find a common reason for everybody to keep going forward, and not
Yes.
intentionally piss them off all the time. Unless that's what gets you going, then I guess whatever.
Exactly. Yes. And by the way, all you amazing content creators, Professor Mad Shad just gave his PSA. For all of you in the chat, type the word vision and it will drop a link to your channel. Please go over, check out their videos, leave a like, leave a comment, because we content creators like to interact with our folks. Leave a comment. And if you like what they're doing, subscribe. And by the way, if one of my amazing moderators could go over to Chance's page and drop a link in the chat to his channel, folks, go subscribe. Just go over there, click the button. You can tell him VP held a hot, full coffee mug to my head and told me to come over here and subscribe. Subscribe to his channel, folks, because he's got some amazing content on there.
Thank you. Hudson says fear will overtake the normies. The biggest thing, the biggest massive piece of the civil unrest
Mm-hmm.
period is going to be the normies finally realizing that the food's not coming. It's going to be the same thing as the Rona. Like, all of a
Yeah.
sudden, what? I need to have how many weeks of toilet paper? Like, how is that even mathematically possible? And then everyone ran out and took it all.
Yeah.
But that's what they were told, to be fair. They were
Yeah.
said you might have to be locked in your house. And so where'd all the N95 masks go? Where all
Mm-hmm.
the hand soap, hand sanitizer, Clorox wipes? Like,
Right.
none of us were like freaked out about that. It's the
Mm-mm.
normies that are. And once they all get upset about something, there is hell to pay.
That's
And
right.
you cannot put that can of worms back in. And you got to just sit back and let the normies do what the normies are going to do. And if they decide to go do something, you just don't follow them or go near them. And they're a force of nature.
Yes, they are. KY Goatman said, I think I just got an ad for a cult. I'm
Oh
sorry to
boy.
hear that, my friend. It's not my cult for sure. I can tell you that. And you can thank YT for that for sure. Without a doubt. Another question is KP Heathen is asking, what is your go-to in the event of biological release? Man, these are good questions.
Biological.
Mm-hmm.
Stay home. like, I,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. Is it, if it's so viruses are so weird, right? And the CDC
Mm-hmm.
just I kind of like, I love it. Like, they redefined what airborne viruses are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you might think that's such a stupid thing. And if everyone's ever played like Plague Inc., which is this old game that was really good, like it used to be really cut and dry. Like, you have a waterborne virus or you have an airborne virus.
Yeah.
But like, we learned during the last unspecified situation that happened that airborne doesn't always necessarily mean airborne, and they kind of had to redefine it. And
Yep.
so you have to figure out, like, how airborne is it really. And I think that's exactly what everyone pragmatically tried to do last time.
Yeah.
How really airborne is it? And I know there was a lot of things that happened, and a lot
Yep.
of people disagreed on stuff, and you don't know right away. And so I
Yeah.
think you kind of have to overestimate it a little bit until you can dial it back,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone gets sick on planes all the time anyway, and everyone gets sick in
Yeah.
offices all the time anyway. You can't estimate that everyone's scrubbing the air as good as they could be,
Right.
but that's going to be very different from being outside, or like the happening where the trees just start shaking stuff on everybody.
Huh. Yeah.
Or what, you have to be able to compartmentalize it to what it probably really is, and then
Yeah.
adjust.
Yep.
You go into a room
Absolutely.
full of people coughing, it's like I don't need to sit here and listen to them cough to know
Yeah. I don't need to
to know
be
this.
here. Right.
I'll leave.
Exactly.
Bye-bye.
Exactly.
I think
So
that's what
Love
you're
and Life
asking.
says, are your fiction novels in the same vein as William Forsythe?
uh
William Forstchen. Forstchen.
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't. While I was writing, probably like 90% of them, I didn't read anything else. So
Okay.
their near future partial collapse, which is I think way closer. Well, I mean, to be honest, we've already been living this for a long time now,
Yes.
and so I try to like perpetually keep it a teeny tiny bit in the future, so it's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of sci-fi. But there's stories about
Mm-hmm.
everyone coming together and finding like common ground. And the reason
Yeah.
why that is, if you've ever played like these kind of thought experiment card games, there was one where it's like, what if someone in your prepper group is like a witch doctor? And a lot of people have issues with that, but it's like, but what if you get along with the witch doctor? Like you got to find like, what if they're cool and they all
Right.
agree to not throw people in the pot and do spells, and like maybe you can make it work. And that's kind of,
Yeah. So Hudson Valley
oh,
said
one
he
second
is the
after.
author of 1 Second After.
I know about it, but I haven't read it. I think a lot of those, they kind of choose one thing, and that was always a big turnoff to me. It's like, oh, EMP,
Mhm.
well, that gets boring after a while. Or a nuke went off. It's just like, zombies are boring. Like,
Yeah.
what if it's something different in every city? Like,
Yep.
what if the thing that you planned for doesn't work, and or if
Right.
it's different everywhere? So
Exactly. But folks, I'm gonna tell y'all. And so, Chance, where can
yes,
people get a copy of this?
it's on Amazon.
There you go. It's on Amazon, folks. You can buy your copy on Amazon. I highly recommend it. I this book blew me away, and it
Oh,
was
thank you.
more than what I expected, because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, this is going to teach me how to build a bunker and what I need to put in the bunker, and so I might as well get the backhoe and start digging. And I was like, oh no, that's not what this is about.
Yeah, if you there's a great YouTube channel called Atlas Survival Shelters. If you want to do it
Yeah.
right, you go, because he's the only person I know that does it right, and he has all
Yes,
the videos of all the aftermath of all. Oh, God. If you've ever seen like a failed, oh man, the money they
I
spend
have.
on those, and it's just
I
like
Yeah.
it rips your guts out. And so no, I
Yes.
wouldn't even try that. Like that's
No. Yeah. Atlas Survival. If I had that kind of money, I definitely would have one
yeah.
for sure. But that is the best way to build it. But folks, I'm telling you, Bug Out Weekend, I think we have 6 or 7 copies of this to give away. So, and we have 1 copy of this. Talk to me about this series here, because this is, if I'm not mistaken, book number 1 of 8.
Yeah, that has the first 8 stories in it. So
Okay,
for it
this
to be
has
kind of,
8 stories in this, folks.
yeah, to be for print to be affordable anymore, I was trying to figure out like how do I cram as much in as one of these, because you got shipping and handling and printing and blah 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 blah.
Right.
So I'm like, I better just cram as much in each one as possible.
Now, is this also available on Amazon?
It is. It is.
There you go, folks. This is 8 books in one. And
Yep.
after I get back from the bug out weekend, I'm going to start reading this. And I can't wait because, I mean, there's nothing like standing in front of a gas pumps and it's on fire. Yeah. What's that tell
Oh
y'all
man.
right there?
And the thing is, it turns out much later in one of the civil unrests that happened in Portland,
Mm-hmm.
a certain group fire attacked a gas station, and they're throwing Molotovs at the gas station, and the cops wouldn't even come. And they're like, well,
Wow.
okay, then I guess that's that. And then they want to come in later and scoop things up. But
Yeah.
Devil
So,
Dog, I don't know what to tell you. I think you guys better just double, triple plan on losing. I don't know. Just bring extra stuff to pack everything back with you. Bring a donkey just to help you guys. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that.
and speaking of that, because Devil Dog is, by the way, a very, very good friend of mine, folks, because Devil Dog poked the bear,
Uh-oh.
um, this is about as good as it's going to get for Devil Dog. We will be right back. Hey, also, folks, at the Bug Out Weekend 2024 will be the Bushcraft Hiking Cook-Off Challenge. Folks, all of you grill masters, all you camp chefs, all you bushcraft cooks, folks, come on out. There's going to be a challenge for a cook-off to beat VP. If you win the first level, you go up against me. Bring your best, bring your attitude, and bring some fun. Folks, you can register for the Bushcraft Hiking Cook-Off. When you register for the Bug Out Weekend, you have to do all of it at once. When you register for the Bug Out Weekend, no exceptions. Folks, we're going to have a great time, some great prizes. And if you win the Bushcraft Hiking Cook-Off, then you get the chance to go up against me, VP, folks. So bring your A game, folks. I've been challenged. I've had a bunch of people tell me they're coming for the title, but guess what? Here's all I can tell y'all. The champ is here. The champ is here. We'll see you at Bug Out Weekend 2024. Take care, folks. God bless. Stay safe.
The champ is here. The champ.
Bring two donkeys just in case the first one's overloaded.
Yeah, exactly. And like Man Chad said, the cape and Devil Dog. Bruh, you know what? I'm to the point where I don't care who wins. I just want everybody to have a great time. And if you beat me, you beat me. And if not, then I got 12 months to talk about it. So, but Jay Creature, I saw your comment and I'm trying to get back to it. Jay Creature said, if I filled a crock pot with whiskey and call it stew, could I possibly win?
Oh, reminds me of those cooking shows where they just get into way too much alcohol.
Says winning, Jay Creature. There you go.
Yeah. It's a vote. It's how the vote. It's how the vote pans out.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. But folks, this is going to be amazing, and I'm just there to have fun. I honestly don't care if I win or not. I don't care. I want everybody that's coming to have a great time, and plain and simple. That's true. That's right, Devil Dog. No alcohol. That's in the rules. No alcohol whatsoever. Yeah. So, but anyway, Chance. So,
yes.
Give the people some nuggets from this Bunker Codes book.
Oh man,
Give them some nuggets.
I mean, I think one of the most interesting things, one of the most overlooked things and it's sort of how the premise of the book starts. Is a lot of people have been buying land the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have been finding bunkers from just rent the last 3 times that everyone's been trying to prep for collapses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think building size up is probably one of the most important things you can do, because it equates back to same thing with like earthquakes, you name it. Like the
Yeah.
bunker could be in a shipping container, it could be half underwater, it could be like, who knows? Do you really want to be climbing in there? Or
Yeah.
it could be a cave. I think I list like just tons of random things that could be construed as a bunker, but people go into those, they might not be safe. They could be full of gas. Like, good
Right.
grief. And
Right.
so I think no matter what, safety should always be number one. People overlook the obvious
Yeah.
stuff, or there's a bear in there, or a cave troll, or whatever it is.
That is
I don't
true.
know. It could,
Yeah.
depending on which part of the country you're in, there could be cave trolls.
Exactly. Now, folks, I will say this, and it's funny, I opened this page because y'all know me, I'm a big first aid guy, and I opened up to page 73, and he's talking about Stop the Bleed course.
Oh, yeah.
He
That's
talks
another one.
about that. Number one, the first is a wound you can pack and wrap. The second option is a wound that you have to get a tourniquet on, and it has to be high and tight. It's in the book, folks. And third,
Yeah.
and he said high and tight, and he talks about what that means, plain and simple. But this book is packed with amazing information, and I cannot wait to give this book away chance to some lucky winners at the Bug Out Weekend.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Now, my next, let's talk about P&W. So, what is P&W? And talk a little bit about the 8 stories contained in this great book.
Sure. PNW is the Pacific Northwest. That's
Okay.
that's what we all here call it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically, if you look on the GPS, it's the green part. It's the part that's not dead. Where all the civilized people live. No, it's basically
Mm-hmm.
the I-5 corridor, right? And so
Yeah.
if you ever see the news, besides Berkeley in California, like, this is where, in a lot of ways, this is the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
And so I tried to think about what 5 years could look like. Like, how bad could things really get in 5 years, or how bad could things get in like 2.5 years? And
Mm-hmm.
the first couple days are always what you call the honeymoon period.
Yeah.
But after that, there's kind of a settling period, and a lot of that's covered. And so I skip around a lot, because everyone, if you've seen a lot of shows, like a lot of people have seen Jericho. Jericho is
Yeah.
2 seasons. It's like someone from FEMA wrote that. Wow, like straight out of the FEMA handbook. And so
Yeah.
I skip around a lot and trying to tell the stories that haven't been told before. So the first one, Recycled, is like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what happens if you just walk out in the middle of the night and you just can't turn around and go home? The
Yeah.
very first criticism I ever got was, why didn't he just turn around and go home? Like, you can't. Sometimes you don't want to. It's dark that way. If you've never been in like stark pitch black darkness before, where you
Yeah.
put your hand in front of your face, like, there's no. Anyway, the second one, Barless Prison, skips ahead. His chance blocked out. Hey, we can talk about that if you want. I mean, we can't talk about that, but Jay Creature,
Yeah.
who also wears an NSA CIA uniform.
Exactly.
Takes one to know one. Rolling off the conveyor belt, pointing at each other.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. Second one, Barless Prison, is like, what happens if they kind of start rounding people up? And like,
Mm-hmm.
what could that look like? What if they start doing rounding up people, start doing experiments? It's kind of romantic to think that they would all just put us in work camps and we'd all work on corn. But that's not how it's going to be. They're going to be all crazy.
Yeah.
Combo Plaza, the third part, that's what happens if you have to go check on your buddy, your mutual aid building over across town, and what that you got to go check on your buddies. What's that going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
Anastasia Drift, the fourth one's like, what happens if a ship just sails into port and you don't know what to do about it and you got to go check on it?
Huh. Kind of like Leave the World Behind?
Well, okay, so imagine if the collapse happens, there's going to be ships that have been floating around, right?
Yeah.
And then sooner or later, they're going to come back and somebody's going to have to go check on them. And I was like, how does that even work? Like, you have to ride your boat out there. You've got to board the ship somehow. You've got to clear a ship. And hypothetically in Minecraft, when people are checking room clearing, they usually don't go check room clearing on a ship.
Yeah.
So I was like, logically, how would you even go room clear a ship? And then what happens if other people then start trying to attack the ship and take it from you?
Exactly.
How do you defend a ship? Blah. So this is how I rationalize things. People get used to it after a while.
Mm-hmm.
The fifth one is what happens if the mountains start going off, but you got to talk to people on the other side of them. Radios don't go over mountains. You kind of got to go talk to people.
Yeah. That's true.
Each story is kind of just like that. Like, what do we do if this happens? What do we do if that happens?
Yeah. And that's good. And that's amazing that you folks, you get 8 books to read in one bound book. I think that's a brilliant idea, Chance. And I can't wait to begin to read that. I may have to do a like Cold War prepper.
Oh yeah.
And do a book reading. And maybe we go through the first story, folks. Yeah.
They're on Kindle also, if anyone likes Kindle. But
there you go, folks.
Most people these days have steered away from it.
Well, I'm old for a reason, and I like physical hardbound books because when the balloon goes up, you may not have internet.
Not only that, if you say the wrong thing to Amazon these days, I love Amazon,
right.
But they can like finger snap everything you own through them, including your doorbells, and they can finger snap it all. And I had my number one reader guy had his entire Kindle library finger snapped because of a dispute over a payment or something with them. So it's just like, okay, sorry, I don't know what to do.
Exactly. And what was that in the story where Amazon, the guy had Ring doorbell and they locked him out of his own house.
Unbelievable. Over something that didn't even happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you never know, folks. I will say this: when the grid goes down, the internet goes down, so forth and so on. Low tech for the win. Plain and simple. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Cups and string.
Yes. Cups and strings. Right. Yeah. So, of course, Jay Creature says, I once went to a school where we assaulted ship and they could sink tilt the ship as we worked.
Oh, that's awesome.
Problems. Very fun. That's cool. That's cool, Jay Creature. Yeah. But Chance, how did you come up with the ideas for your books? I mean, you have to be a very creative and visionary type of person when you write.
I mean, it's kind of cliche to say that like a lot of it comes to me in dreams, but that's only part of it. I mean, we've been living in basically ground zero of the civil unrest for like 6 years, and it's never the same for very long. So you might think it's going to be homeless, and then it turns out that the immigrants just kick the homeless out, and then it turns out that people on drugs kick them out, and then it's going to be the warlords that kick them out. Like, you realize that you're in like a constant, perpetual shifting change. the flags that the rioters use change like every couple of days. Their tactics change, their slogans change, and I realized that like the collapse looks very, very different to everybody, and it's going to look different in every town. Some people might run out of fuel. Some people, I don't know, like the wildfires. Like if you would have told me a couple years ago that trains were just going to start wrecking in people's towns and pouring toxic sludge everywhere, that they're just going to deny it, even though all the fish are dead. Like those are the things I'm never going to prepare for that, which I probably should because there's train tracks here everywhere.
Yeah, there
but
are.
These things, like there's just a million different things that can happen. And this is kind of how I cope with it all. I write it down and I think through it logically. And we've just dealt with a lot here. Like it's always like stupid wildfires. Like if you'd have told me that there was just going to be like wildfires that could just take the cities over and that people could be setting those intentionally, how do you cope with that? Knowing that like your entire forest could burn down and they're going to be paying homeless people to just set your forests on fire or whatever.
Right.
Knowing that there's no cash bail, they're going to be immediately out. And for a bottle of beer, you can tell them to go. So how do you cope with those things? Like you have to healthily somehow, because you can't live in a perpetual state of fear. You have to be able to manage it somehow.
Yep. And as Camo Carl said, the only thing constant in life is change.
Yeah. Which means you have to be constantly adapting and training and preparing.
Correct, folks. As I always say, we pray, we prep, and we practice. Constantly be aware of the changes and be able to move with them. Steve Creative Sessions, good to see you, my brother. Hope you're doing well. That's one of my great Ohio peoples. And,
you got to follow your gut. You've got to follow what if there is a voice that's not well. Don't do everything the voices tell you. But if like, here's the thing. Like, if you've ever heard someone say like, "Man, I got a really bad feeling that XYZ is going to happen." Hopefully, you're not driving. Hopefully, it's not. I sure hope the tires don't suddenly But you learn that like all this is like a vibe. There's a vibe to everything that goes on, and if there's something telling you like, I think we should get XYZ checked, you should probably just go check it. Worst case, you're fine. But like if the universe or whatever it is you believe is trying to tell you something in your gut, don't go down that alley. Maybe I don't need to go. Like you realize that we have been ignoring our base instincts for so long that have kept us alive, because we're in this perpetual state of them trying to tell us that everything's fine when everything in our bodies is telling us that it's not fine. They go take their stupid selfies in the morning going, look, the city's so safe. But it's like, well, of course they keep the bike path safe because they don't want the normies upset. Right. But they don't show you the 150, 200, 250 shell casings like in 5 different intersections from the street lockdowns the night before.
Yes.
Because people will stop shopping.
Yes.
They'll stop going to the office.
Yes.
And you've got to follow your gut. Like if stuff feels bad, don't go, whether it's a party or if something's popping off at the gas station, just leave. Like normalcy bias is so dangerous, and they're still trying to program it into us every day.
Right.
Lizard brain. Exactly. Lizard brain. 100%.
Exactly.
That's what's been keeping us alive for thousands and thousands of years.
Yes. Yes, it has. And it will. You know, listen to your gut, folks. You know, Crystal R said, I'm still trying to follow my inner thoughts and feelings. I think it's from God. Absolutely. Absolutely, Crystal. And at the end of the day, folks, stick with your gut. You know, if your gut tells you, like Chance just said, don't go down that street.
Because it could be on something unconscious. It could be, or like with me, it's like deer crossing the road. What if a deer crossed the road right now? Well, that's probably your unconscious brain going, hey, I see a deer over there, but you just haven't processed that a deer's there yet.
Right. Exactly.
And then you realize there's deer on the side of the freeway again. Like, don't eat there, but you can't stop them.
Yes. So let's see what other. Oh, we got tons of questions.
Oh,
Lord. So Sharon Barrett asks, do you know your herbs?
No. Next question.
He said no.
I don't, and it's because so every single area has its own set that you have to learn. And the
Mhm,
best way, short of eating everything and hope you don't die,
mhm.
is you have to train and hire somebody. Those phone apps don't work.
Yeah,
And they certainly don't work when the grid goes down. Like,
yeah.
hire somebody professional, have them take you to your area and learn your herbs in your area. And I haven't done it. We just moved within the last year.
Yeah.
I guess I could just go eat the grass if I wanted, but the deer have probably peed on it. So
Of course.
that's
But
what they so
that's
I
some
will
good
though, I
advice.
promise.
Yeah, hire a professional. So
Yeah.
the unknown known by that asks, for the average person, put a bunker on the property or build a hardened house.
Man, that's tough. Like here's the thing. It's tough, but at the same time it's not. I think any prepper anything worth their weight in anything says a second building should always be your first priority because you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket.
Mhm,
It doesn't have to be something hardened or crazy. It could be a shipping container, but
mhm.
like your first priority should always be to get as much stuff out of your house as possible, whether you cash it or whatever. But man, like I don't know how many YouTubers have lost their stuff in fires. Like if you're a YouTuber, your home is
Mhm.
marked and you're on a purge list or 5 or 10. You've got to have somewhere else
Yeah.
that you don't put on your YouTube channel,
Yep.
or the rest of you don't tell your friends and family, you don't go show it off. Oh
Yep.
look, I've got an M60 in my outhouse. Like or whatever people do. I don't know what
Yeah.
people
Yep.
there's
That's
some
true.
states I would get a second something first, because your house, if someone's determined, man, they're going to
Mhm,
get in no matter what. You just need the door to last for about 3 seconds so you can
mhm.
outdraw them,
Yep.
or some way of having an early warning system. I
Exactly.
I digress. I could talk about that for hours.
Yeah, you're fine. Mad Shad says, I prep a lot of jello to fill bunkers. His question is there really always room for jello?
Just bring Kool-Aid packets. You can use gelatin for other things.
Right. So, and you have to forgive my guy, Mad Shad. That's why I'm
No, I
laughing,
know.
because
He's
he's always talking about filling bunkers and shipping containers with jello.
I mean, it's a good bartering item, but Kool-Aid packets are
There you go. So, next question. Virginia Bushcrafter asks, how many of you are actually ready to leave home? Must have a place to bug out to.
I think it's a challenge. Um,
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing. If you think networking with your neighbors where you're at is hard, you
Mm-hmm.
have to like double network with whoever your neighbors are going to be. You have to deal with all the roadblocks. You have to deal with the fact there's probably already a squad at wherever it is you're going to be at. Then do you have enough people to kick them out? Do you have enough people to defend that place? Like we used to have a running joke, like everyone's going to head for the hills. You're going to have everybody up in the hills at the same time. It's going to be a death trap. So
Yeah.
being ready, but being mentally prepared for the fact that you could be easily going into an even worse situation than the one you're already in.
Mm-hmm.
And you're dealing with people in wheelchairs and grandma's telling you how stupid you are and how you should have listened to her, and you're like, yes ma'am, I know.
Exactly.
uh yeah, it's tough.
Exactly. So, last question here.
Uh,
Camo Carl asks, what preventative measures keeps the bunkers from being a fancy burial plot?
I mean, the biggest thing you're going to, when you're out and around your bunk, and cats, my dad told me this story about like this cat that had babies, and it was leaving like crisscross tracks all through the snow, and he couldn't find it in the snow to bring it in. But then
Okay.
he determined it was just it was leaving just random crisscross tracks everywhere, just to make sure nothing could track them. The cat ended up being fine. The babies were fine because nothing could track it in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's insane that a cat, like, how did it bring that along with it through a billion generations?
Right.
You're going to attract attention.
Yep.
I mean, but even if you're in a house, like if it's after it hits the fan, if your yard, there's going to be people that are OCD that keep their yard clean. They're going to be attracting all kinds of attention. But if it's too messy, you could throw all your clothes outside. Think about what makes people leave homeless people in squatter houses alone. Like, it just looks like a death trap.
Exactly.
Maybe that's the way you go. It's going to be different everywhere.
This is very crude, and I just thought of this.
Oh boy!
Now I'm trying to figure out how to.
You have to eat yourself out.
Yeah,
that's it. You got to eat yourself out. That's all I can do.
All I can say is, if you go into these homeless houses, the best way to do is just, you may have to poop on the porch and just leave it there.
You may have to fill the house with Jell-O. I don't know.
There you go. Fill it with Jell-O. Yes. And as Mad Shad said, he said, if I have a 50,000-gallon tanker truck full of Jell-O, pumps it into a bunker, what happens?
You might be able to provide a service to get squatters out of houses with the Jell-O truck.
And that is exactly what he does. That's what he wants to do. Yes. Pump a house full of Jell-O and get the squatters out.
They'll be floating in it like a fruit Jell-O.
Exactly. but folks, again, do me a favor. One of my amazing moderators, please drop a link to Chance's channel one more time. Chance, I appreciate you folks. I'm telling y'all, and I'm not saying this just because, I'm saying this because I have read this book, The Bunker Codes. It is an amazing book. And I'm reading this as soon as I get back from the bug out weekend. I may even have to give a copy of this to Devil Dog to get his mind off of losing to the champ.
Oh man, bring the donkey.
Yes, bring the donkey. But with that, folks, Chance, I'm gonna give you the last words. You can have the last words, and we'll wrap this up.
Sure, I'll just say what I always say. The only way we make it through this is together, and that means you have to find reasons to stay together. You have to find reasons to stick together. All the division is from people finding reasons to split apart. Mm-hmm. There's a natural, number of your group to get to where you do need to divide and where it's better, but most groups divide way too early. Yeah. You've got to stick together.
Yeah.
You've got to keep your comms open. Do your buddy checks.
Yep.
It's how we make it through this, is together.
It is. It truly is. And folks, all of y'all are amazing. And this goes out to y'all and our mate. I'm gonna have you back, Chance, because I need the details on this.
Oh yeah.
After I read it. But with that, folks, I appreciate each and every one of y'all for spending some time with us tonight. Again, Chance, I want to thank you.
Thank you
for being on, and it won't be the last time I have you on. I will say this. But with that, folks, remember this. Keep on prepping, because your family depends on you, and it depends on your life. This is Vision Preparedness. Good night, everybody. Stay safe, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks a lot. Take care, folks. The time is now.